Well, hey there, everybody. Good to see ya. Bryan Zayn here, and I'm back with the Smackdown review, the penultimate Smackdown review here on the channel. More on that in a little bit. And there's a lot to talk about, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But we, of course, are here to talk about the Blue Show as we are hurtling toward WrestleMania. What number is it? 37? I feel like I've lost count because they don't count them anymore. But I think it's 37. Yeah. And so it's the penultimate week of SmackDown before that. I guess if you want to count next Friday's SmackDown, this is the go home show, technically, for WrestleMania, if we're going to count Saturday or Friday, I should say. But let's begin right away with Edge Time. The Royal Rumble winner opens the show and talks about what happened last week at Fastlane, or was it? Yeah, I guess it was last week or 2 weeks. Who knows anymore? It's all a blur. Talks about Fastlane, talks about when the triple threat match was announced, how he snapped and beat up Daniel Bryan. He he calls Daniel Bryan roadkill on the road to WrestleMania, which that feels kind of a Lawlerism, don't you think? I feel like that's kind of a Jerry Lawler line, basically, when I heard that. He says he had a revelation after the last week where he looked in the mirror and finally saw the rated R superstar. And he hasn't snapped, he's woken up. And he says next time he sets up Roman and Bryan for concertos, he will not hesitate. It's a good newly healed promo by Edge. And I love how one of the better things about what makes heels great, what makes a great heel great, I should say, is when their heel turn is justified and you could like sympathize with them and understand their plight. And I think Edge's perspective is the perspective of his character is a fantastic one, because like, yeah, he should by all rights have his one-on-one match. He's entitled to it, or at least he feels like it, and he feels like he is, his greater wishes are being denied. So I kind of get that. I can understand his justification for it. So it's one of those heels where it's like you can kind of understand where he's coming from here. Then afterward, we find out the street fight with Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso is the main event. Edge is asked about that match, says he's got no sympathy for the potential of Bryan getting hurt. And gosh, if he does get taken out of the match at WrestleMania, goody for him. Excuse me. I swallowed some air the wrong way. You know how it is. The Alpha Academy and Rudolph. Hang on, I just realized I got to switch this over. You can tell I'm rusty on this because forgot the move. That's not, man. All right, there we go. So, yes, here's the card in all its glory, and I felt good about when I was fixing this lower third. I'm like, oh, I don't have to change the first match because it's the same thing as it was last time I did SmackDown review on March 12th. Yes, they are redoing this 8-man tag team match as the Alpha Academy and Rudolph take on the Street Profits and the Mysterios. So yeah, it's a rematch from like last month, and it's your final piece of build for the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship match for SmackDown for WrestleMania SmackDown. You have 2 nights of WrestleMania, and God forbid, to try and fit all those matches you have in there. God, where do you find the time across 2 4-hour pay-per-views over a weekend? You just can't do it. You just can't put all those matches in there. They're only human, for God's sake. So that's why you got to have the Honor of the Giant Battle Royal and the Tag Team Championship, the SmackDown Tag Title match on this WrestleMania, thing. It's like that's so weak. It's bad enough these guys aren't it's like they don't even get the added benefit of performing in front of whatever thousands of people are going to be in Raymond James. It's going to be the Thunderdome probably. So yeah, weak is the best way I could describe that. And how irrelevant has the Andre the Giant Battle Royal become? I mean, obviously we didn't have it last year because of the COVID scare, but it's not like the history of the Battle Royal before that was any good. And I did a whole video on that explaining it. So go check that out if you want to learn more. So yeah, here we have this rematch, and for this match that this is the only build for it recently in total, and it kind of sucks. Chad Gable in his promo tonight kind of seems he's making innuendos, talking about how he has an enormous mental acumen, and the Alpha Academy is peaking, and when they peak hard. And so they say do it for the Academy, which you're treading the fine line there, Chad. That's all I'm saying. It's very close to something based on a video I just released today, in fact. By the way, go check out the video that released this morning where I announced the latest development in the YouTube Championship scenario. So anyway, this match happens. It is what it is. Dominic looks kind of nervous when he's doing some of his moves and setups here. It's really weird. In the end, Otis flattens Montez Ford with the second rope splash, which is the most devastating looking second rope splash I've seen in a long time. Puts some extra bounce on it when he comes down to win. Nice little match here. It took me a minute, but I'm starting to dig heel Otis. I think he's coming more into that role. It was really weird how this team was first set up, because if you remember, it was like Otis was still kind of the baby face and Chad was kind of like this. He was kind of like, I don't know, corrupting him is the word, but he was toughening him up and kind of confusing him with those weird lessons, which they kind of stopped doing. And now Otis is a heel, and I think it's actually a better fit. The more they do it, I think they need to wear matching gear though. But it's going to be the last time Chad Gable was in a tag team with somebody where they waited until for ages to give him matching gear to match with Robert Roode. But yeah, also they talked about Street Profits had a promo before the match talking about they called the tag team champions Rudolph. It's catching on, folks. Get on board the Rudolph hype train while you can. So yeah, good little match. Backstage, Paul Heyman approaches Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and he wants Jey Uso to be held harmless for what he'll do to Daniel Bryan in their street fight. So they're kind of throwing the whole wrestling in general is throwing around the whole unsanctioned thing a bit too much lately, it feels, because you've got this one here where suddenly Jey Uso is hold harmless, and Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly at TakeOver is an unsanctioned match, and we just had an unsanctioned match in AEW. I feel that's becoming a bit of a trope. Please don't let it get into fatal five-way territory. That's all I ask you. We see a face-to-face with Seth Rollins and Cesaro, but who can pay attention to what Cesaro's wearing? Because the other two guys in this ring, Corey Graves is the moderator, are looking very loud with their suits, especially Seth. My God, you want to talk about hashtag drip. I'm not even talking about my WCW Revenge hoodie. I should have worn that tonight. Dang it. Well, it would have been too hot anyway. So, yeah, Seth Rollins, purple and pink cloud suit. Not too many guys can pull it off, but I think Seth could pull it off here. Cesaro is asked about the pressure of wrestling in his first singles match at WrestleMania. He says he cannot fail next week. Even as a little bit of singing. Swing is in the air, he says. And that's kind of the theme of this segment here. Also, Cesaro singing, it beats the yodeling. That's all I'm going to say about that. So Rollins, though, says he's unflappable. He's not going to get riled up with the swing stuff. He's too confident because he's untouchable at WrestleMania. All these moments that happen there, he runs down. And but he got very thin skin here because Cesaro keeps making swing puns and everything and swing jokes. And finally, that's been enough. Seth cannot stand anymore. He gets in Cesaro's face and he wants to fight. And Cesaro, with the last pun of the evening, saying, "Take a swing," and then Rollins doesn't. He balks. I thought it was okay, but I don't know. The swing puns I thought get a little too much here. It's like that's all Cesaro has to hang on here is that fact he can embarrass Seth with the swing. I feel that they could have done it better build with him. I don't know. We see Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Reginald walk past Carmella. Nia says, "You didn't take very good care of him, did you?" and walks off. And then we see Shayna Baszler taking on Natalya. The match begins. The match ends because Shayna goes for a small package and Natalya, I should say, counters it, and she wins. Like a match that goes less than 20 seconds. I'd be amazed if it went lower than that. So great. It's wow. Way to make your tag team champions look good when Shayna Baszler gets beat at every opportunity. It's a joke. After the match, though, we've got first of all, we'll say Carmella looking on the monitor. We'll get back to her. So we've got Shayna and Nia immediately beating up Tamina and Natalya. The Riot Squad shows up. Then Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke show up. And then Lana and Naomi show up. And they're all fighting. And it finally ends Natalya and Tamina standing tall in the ring. They could have done literally every moment after that match, beat for beat. And they wouldn't have to change a thing. And they could have done all that without having Shayna Baszler eat the fucking pin. Am I crazy? Why would you do that? And why in such a short match too? Have Shayna beat Natalya? I don't get it. Good Lord in heaven. That was one of the worst things about this show. And it's not like, I don't know if it's hashtag give divas a chance worthy, But boy, I mean, hashtag give Shayna a chance. Jesus, like throw her a bone or something. Come on here. After the match, we see Carmella approached by Billie Kay with a resume, and she's initially rejected, but then she reconsiders and brings Billie. She takes Billie's resume, and Billie's like walk-off motion, where her hands like this, and she kind of backs away, was perfect. Made me laugh. Make the most of your minutes, even if Billie's time was less than a minute. But yeah, great to see her there. And I guess now we're gonna have a Carmella Billie Kay tag team. Is that what we're building toward here? Because again, why they break up the Iconics if you're going to do nothing with either of them? But it's okay. Billie can cut a big promo on talking smack and everyone's going to think it's hard times and that she should get a push. I think she should get a push without that though. Backstage, Logan Paul shows up for Sami Zayn's little trailer premiere. And we'll talk more about Logan Paul in a second. They talk about him, how he's an influencer. I took offense to that. I am the influencer. I don't know. I don't know if y'all know. I have my own hashtag, the influencer. And he's a YouTuber and all this stuff. But he's had a few boxing matches, so I guess he's a bit younger, more conventionally attractive. So I can understand why they would bring him in WrestleMania. Sami is looking sharp here. I believe it's the same tux he was wearing from the Sami Awards. So Logan Paul shows up to witness this trailer that Sami claims will leave people speechless. And speaking of speechless, that's how I felt upon watching Sami do his little dance to Logan Paul's theme as he made his way out there. I'm going to say, for the record, I don't know anything about Logan Paul except for a couple of little things about him, like the controversy with like the Ghost Forest, and he boxed a few matches. Besides that, I don't care. I don't know or care much about Logan Paul. It is startling how ignorant I am to greater YouTube culture, despite me making my living on YouTube. I guess this is how other white people feel about Bad Bunny being involved at WrestleMania. Who's Logan Paul? Who cares? No one knows who Logan Paul is. So we have the trailer, and it's amazing. I love this trailer, and I was just predicting something just like this to come up when I saw they were weekly doing this footage gathering thing. It was better than I could have expected. Just the clips they ran and the order in which they put them were great. I love, like, there's this moment where Sami's like asked about if he's a flat earther, and he's like, we shouldn't be looking into flat earth, should we? And then as he says that, you hear the doom in the trailer music. I pop for that. And as you see all the graphics fly by, all these montage of other clips, one of my favorites is looking like a corkboard full of like food baskets from the concession stand at Tropicana Field, labeling all of them. There's a conspiracy board with like the red string and whatnot. And I love how the trailer ends where Sam's like, who's crazy now? Boom. Like, it was like so on point, and it was brilliant. So all the flowers go to whoever put that all together. Between that and the Prime Target package on NXT with Cole and O'Reilly, brilliant editing this week on WWE programming. So then afterward, we come back up, and Logan Paul's first words are, sheesh. It's a lot to take in. I kind of laughed about that. He says he talked to Kevin Owens when he was in the locker room. When? He just rolled up in his limo. So Kevin Owens tells him that Sami's living in his own reality. Sami begins to fly off the handle, kind of accuses KO of poisoning his mind. Then Kevin shows up, hits Sami with the stunner. Logan Paul's kind of stunned looking at this himself. And then Kevin just kind of shoves him as he makes his way out the ring. And that's the end of the in-ring part. And then you've got backstage, Kevin says he was trying to send a message to Sami. Sami jumps him and scurries off. The trailer, like I said, was hilarious. My one small gripe with this build is there's no reason to put Logan Paul in this stupid thing. How long have you been wanting a Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match at WrestleMania? Or just on, God, when's the last time they had a one-on-one pay-per-view match? Like Battleground 3 or 4 years ago? The restraint they've had to keep it from happening again since then has been amazing. But on pay-per-view at least. But yeah, man, like, there's no reason to put Logan Paul in this thing. He has nothing to do with either man, and I can't imagine anything he does in that match at WrestleMania is going to be worth him showing up. I get it, celebrity, yada yada, and there's like a vague connection of him being involved in this because like Sami wanted somebody with a large social media presence. So, that makes sense, like on that level, but still there's like no reason. I don't see it, Again, this is how many, at least with Bad Bunny, at least he's been around for a couple of months now and has actually been training at the Performance Center. So it's like he puts in the work. I don't know what Logan Paul's going to do. It's going to make that, make it worth it, though, honestly. Let's see here. Edge entering the Pierce DeVille locker room, telling them he'll be on commentary for the street fight later on. Our next match sees Carmella versus Bianca Belair. How about more great treatment for the ladies here? Actually, this match was done far better, I think, than the women's tag build. But Carmella has the silhouette sheet back, which I popped for. And speaking of popping, I think Graves, his desk, you could have heard a sound underneath because he was having an orgasm on air. Ladies, get yourself a man who will jizz his pants upon seeing you walk down the aisle alone, because that's a keeper. Bianca's interviewed before her entrance, and she's asked if she's worried about splitting her focus tonight. Oh, now we're concerned about Bianca Belair splitting her focus in spite of all those bullshit tag title matches we saw her and Sasha get. Bianca says she has awoken the real Sasha Banks after slapping her last week. Carmella jumping Bianca before the match, working her over, tying her ponytail to the ropes. Carmella going for her sidekick, but Bianca catches her, puts her in the KOD, and wins. Sasha, in a really sleek-looking bodysuit, tries to jump her again, but Belair catches her. Banks has to balk. Bianca looks okay here in this matchup. Carmella is gone for weeks just to be fodder for Bianca here in this matchup. After like the brief run she had challenging Sasha, it's kind of a shock to me. But then again, though, the rest of the women's division on SmackDown is just slammed right now. They're so busy. Couldn't find anyone else to take that spot that Carmella had. But Carmella got some prominent screen time tonight. She for being gone for a while, and even though she lost, she was like in no fewer than 3 segments on the night. She was the backstage thing with Nia and Shayna. She was watching the monitor with Billie Kay, and then she had this match with Bianca. So, not a bad night for her, I guess, all told. Then we get a couple of promos. He's fighting Mayweather the same day. That's apparently the reason that Logan Paul is... Okay, fine. We got a King Corbin promo where he explains his actions last week, or earlier this week, I should say, beating up Drew McIntyre on Raw. Says after he takes out Drew next week, he'll challenge Lashley for the title, and everyone will bow down to the King at WrestleMania. Then we get an Apollo Crews promo where, I wish the promos in WWE didn't talk to people like they were idiots and how they have to enunciate every single aspect of a gimmick or a match, in excruciating detail. Does Apollo Crews at this point need to say, my Nigerian ancestors were never offended as much as I was? You can just say ancestors. We get the vibe of your gimmick now. I thought, and it just seemed kind of redundant when he's like, and then I'm going to challenge Big E to a Nigerian drum match for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. So yeah, I thought it was just kind of interesting. They're just really leaning into that gimmick. They just have to really emphasize the point he is Nigerian in case the colors and the accent weren't convincing enough for you. You also have to mention he's from Nigeria, or he has a Nigerian ancestry in every promo. Backstage, Paul Heyman chatting with Edge, tries to perhaps get in his head a little bit, but Edge shrugs him off, heads to the commentary table. I will say, even though Edge is a heel at this point, he still wants nothing to do with Roman. He still's got a grudge against him. It's not like he's buddying up with Roman these days. I'm sure, after Mania, that's probably going to happen. We're going to have the inevitable teaming up with those two. But right now he is, not, he's no more, he's no more anti-Roman than he is anti-Bryan. You know what I mean. Your main event is a street fight as Daniel Bryan takes on Jey Uso. And God, these guys have wrestled a lot, haven't they? I feel for the last couple of months, it's been Bryan and Uso every 2 or 3 weeks. And, they wrestle fine, but just give us something new here. Uso beats up, well, first of all, you got Roman Reigns showing up a few minutes into this thing before the commercial break. Uso beating up Bryan with a chain, including a big old punch to the mush and the splash. Bryan kicks out, and we cut to Edge, and he looks very flustered over that, which is very good character work. And Michael Cole's trying to needle him, are you scared? Are you intimidated by Bryan being there? And Edge's no, I'm just mad because he doesn't deserve to be in this matchup because X, Y, Z. And if you listen to him at any point in the show tonight, he'll tell you why. So again, they have to just beat the details over your head. So the match ends. Well, I love this part here where Bryan just beats Jay's ass like a chair and stuff, and like looking right at Edge while he's doing it. And then in the end, he tries to replicate the spot with Morishima in Ring of Honor, where he wraps the chain around his arm and just beats down on Jay's like shoulder and head area. But as he's doing it, the chain kind of slips, so the effect is gone. So it doesn't look quite as impressive. But he then puts him in the yes lock. Jay taps out, and that's the match. Main event, Jey Uso, buddy. Woo! Good to see him there. After the match, Bryan beats Edge's ass on the outside, goes up to Reigns, beats his ass too. He's beating everybody's ass as he stands tall to end the show, and that's how you build somebody up. Man, Bryan looking like such a threat now. Edge is scared, Roman is scared. Very well done with this build so far. Except for hapless Jey Uso losing every match he's in, I have no real complaints with the build for the triple threat on this night. And so with that in mind, as I take a bit of a hydration break, we are going to go over. First, I'm going to give you a little plug. Where are we here? This is time for a little commercial for the t-shirt store, prowrestlingtees.com/wrestlingwithregret. There's a newer shirt than this that came out. One of these is sold today, select character. There's the NWO style shirt that just came out a few weeks ago. Check that out, prowrestlingtees.com/wrestlingwithregret. So now we've got that. There's your little plug, your little commercial, Reno. And now we're going to go to our grade. It's a C. The one, I like the triple threat build, and Sami Zayn's trailer I thought were great and kind of put it over a C- territory for me. But there were a couple of rematches here, like a couple of matches I've seen a bit too much of, the 8-man tag match in particular, and also, again, Daniel and Jay. How many times can they fight? Shayna versus Natalya. Like, again, you could have done everything else the exact same in that segment and still have Shayna win. Like, it's possible, guys. That's all I'm saying. I guess you had to give Natalya and Tamina like a little bit of momentum, like to justify their being in the hunt. But no, you could have done that with less, is all I'm saying. And unnecessary Logan Paul is unnecessary. One thing someone was asking, is this the last SmackDown review? No, I will tell you right now, this is the penultimate SmackDown review. And while we're here, I guess I'll just show you the schedule we've got for the next week, the WrestleMania week schedule, also known as the grind, also known as the slog, also known as a lot of different things. Call it what you will, but for YouTubers like me, it's going to be a rough one. Here's the schedule right now on my channel. Monday, the final Raw review. As you might have heard me mention on Wednesday Warfare, I'm not doing Raw and SmackDown anymore, so it's the final one. I'm fucking sick of Raw. I don't want to review it anymore. Waste my Monday nights. Tuesday, right now, there's nothing guaranteed in place, but there will probably be a re-uploaded classic review. Could be a new regrettable match. Could be both. That's a possibility, or those two videos will drop at some point scattered through the week. Wednesday will be an AEW review on its own, because Thursday I'm going to lump in nights 1 and 2 of TakeOver Stand and Deliver and give you my review of the whole show that way. Friday will be the final SmackDown review live, but don't be afraid, folks, because there will be more live streams in the future. I just don't know how that's going to work right now, but next week is the final SmackDown review. So I came back for 1 week and I leave the next one. And then Saturday and Sunday, WrestleMania's night 1 and night 2. So mark your calendars, folks. That's how it's going to look next week. And we YouTubers are going to stay very busy in a lot of different ways. So keep your eye open for that. And I guess the next thing I got to talk about here, and we'll get into super chats in a moment, but I want to talk about this big news that broke this morning, that Chris Jericho, current AEW star, is going to be appearing on the Broken Skull Sessions with Steve Austin on the WWE network, which, that to me, that's like internet breaking stuff right there, that announcement, because whoever would have guessed, you could visualize, AEW working with New Japan, or AEW working with Impact, but for not working with necessarily, but just to have like Jericho being able to have the freedom to like be on this thing for the competition, and like nobody seems to mind, like Steve Austin telling his story about how like he had an emoji from Vince saying it was okay. He had to make double sure. Are you sure you're okay with Jericho being on this show? And yeah, I think it's I don't see why Vince would mind, because it doesn't help. It's like it helps his business more than AEW's. I'll tell you that right now. It's like, hey, all you AEW fans, come look at I've got your guy on my show right now. So I get that. And again, Jericho has this unbelievable freedom in AEW to pretty much do what he wants. And yeah, I think it's just a really smart move on Jericho's part, on Austin's part, on Vince's part, and also for Jericho to have that ability to go, I think is great. It's like, yeah, I think it could set the door. It could set up things for a forbidden door, another forbidden door to be opened. And I don't know where that's going to go, but I think it was, it's just very shocking. And I can't wait to hear how it goes down. Maybe Austin will grill him a bit on the Capitol riots, or why are you getting so many conspiracy theorists on your show? So yeah, that is just very surprising. I'm happy for them, and I think it's going to be a very interesting interview for sure. Now I guess it's time for them super chats. Let's go all the way back up here. Scrolly Scroll, and let's pull these up and see what we get here. Beastie Cool the Wolf, $4.99. Who do I yell at for Logan Paul and WWE? Sami for entertaining the idea, or WWE for actually doing it? Like, I don't know. I mean, I would love to know the story of like who actually recruited Logan Paul. I mean, was it actually Sami? He just name dropped it and the idea materialized and was actualized, or I'm sure there was some person in writing who knows Logan Paul and got in the hookup. But yeah, I don't care for him being in this. Like, I was fine with Bad Bunny. I never had a problem with Bad Bunny being involved, because at least and the time they've taken to build it is fine. It's acceptable. But like, yeah, Logan Paul being shoved in like this makes no sense from a story perspective. No reason to add him to this Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn thing. So yeah, I'm not going to be like unimpressed if he does something cool. Like, I'm not going to be like, well, because I mean, like, we've seen celebrity involvement lately, and it's actually not been that bad, like across the board. Like, look at how Pat McAfee has been on NXT. Look at Bad Bunny lately. Look at Shaq in AEW. So the bar is set pretty high for celebrities these days. So Logan Paul, whatever he does, he better bring it. That's all I'm going to say. Keith Kutach, $5. Haven't caught a live stream in a while. Do you see the women's division progressing in any good direction after Mania at all? No, not really. And then there's going to be a question I saw in the super chat about the current SmackDown women's title situation, which we'll get to. But I'm not thrilled about the prospect at this moment. They put a lot of eggs in the Bianca Belair basket, and they kind of spoiled the eggs. W. Stein 79. Would you have been on SmackDown if Sami invited you? Yeah, probably. I mean, hey, that would have been a great little duo. Zayn and Zayn. The Zayn brothers or cousins or whatever. You know what? I still to this day, I hate the fact that the SmackDown, like the WWE games, where you could put your name in the ring and the ring announcer will say your name. And they got all these wrestler names, everybody. And like, for some reason, you can't get Sami Zayn's last name, which like sucks, because that's also my last name. The computer could say Zayn with a Y, and it wouldn't make any difference sounding from Zayn with an N-E. So I'm still a little bummed about that. But yeah, it would have been fun. I mean, yeah, they got the wrong influencer. I'm right here, guys. And I probably work for less too than Logan Paul. I'm just saying. Eduardo Morales says, do an impression of Taz. I love it. No doubt about it, Cole. You mess with Team Taz and these soup bones and these ham hocks. Powerhouse Hobbs is going to break you. Who can stop the wrath of Cage? Big Money Matt Hardy drinking that banana juice, Cole. Where's Shannon Moore, his little MFer? They're drinking BJ's banana juice. No doubt about it. Ham hocks, Team Taz. There you go. Just do a soundboard of me doing the Taz impression. That's all you need. You are rad dad. Thank you. Your videos have been my only way of keeping up with Raw and SmackDown for years now, and I just wanted to thank you for suffering for all of us. Well, yes, it is the end of an era. I don't take this decision to stop reviewing Raw and SmackDown lightly, because I know that, it is, I get so many comments saying, I don't watch these shows anymore. You're the only way I know about what's going on. So I'm flattered by that. But, it's just kind of this point where I don't have fun watching Raw and SmackDown. I mean, to a lesser extent, SmackDown. I enjoy SmackDown, but I'd be weird to like leave SmackDown and keep doing these reviews where it's like not doing Raw. Like you have to have both. I think you can't have like one or the other. And like I said on Wednesday Warfare, I would love to hire somebody to do it for me, but history shows y'all don't like the people I hire. So, you know, I'm flattered that you would like it to be me and only me on camera, but that comes with a bit of a trade-off, and it comes with a bit of a shelf life. So yeah, I'm a little bummed I'm not doing it anymore, just because like of the interactivity and the engagement with the viewers, and I will miss the live SmackDown reviews. I have a lot of fun doing these, but this is an issue of time management and energy, and I don't have the time or energy to really bother with Raw and SmackDown anymore. I'm perfectly happy just doing NXT and AEW right now. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. The Infuso, friend and compatriot of the show, $5. Thank you, V. Logan Paul is everyone's regret. Well, I mean, you know, people like him. I'm not going to say they don't like him. He's got a following. I wish I had like half that following. Good Lord. Pedro Lima, 20 R's. Hey, just wanted to share that one of my favorite moments from W3 is a random one of your Ring of Glory review where the guy who's supposed to be the personification of evil, not the devil, that's James Mitchell, because Ron Reese, the Yeti, is the personification of evil, using the dusty elbows. Yeah, oh my God. I remember that the first time he's doing it, he literally does the thing with the hands too. Like, come on. Like, be a little... I popped big for that one. And yeah, I asked D'Lo Brown about Ring of Glory, and I know the editor Izzy has also asked him about Ring of Glory, and he's mum, man. He just don't want to say anything about it. I'm like, man, tell us how you really feel about Ring of Glory, dude. And it reminds me of a time I met Jeff Jarrett in England for the Wrestling Media Con in Manchester. I got to interview him, and I asked him before we rolled in the interview, like, hey, can I ask you like a question or two about Ring of Glory because you were part of the first one? And he was just like, I don't want to talk about it because it's the religious stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I guess he assumed we were going to make fun of it, but that wasn't my intention. I just wanted to ask, what the hell was that about? You know? So I didn't get to ask him about it. Maybe one day when we're off the record, I can talk to him more about it. But D'Lo, nope, still staying mum about Ring of Glory. Vorpal Bender, $20. Hey, Brian, just wanted to let you know that your birthday cameo video message, my friend Matt sent me back in January, made my day. Oh, man, well, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed the cameo. And by the way, that reminds me, I've got one I have to do but before the weekend is up. So, yeah, by the way, I am on Cameo, Cameo at Z-Man Bryan Zayn. I do shout-outs, I do impressions, I do well wishes, and all sorts of crazy stuff for guys like Vorpal Bender here. So happy birthday back in January, Vorpal. Thank you very much for that and for your support. Bob Dobbs. Good old Bob Dobbs. Big ups, Brian. Can you give a birthday shout-out to DSP? Every week someone asks me about DSP. I keep forgetting who it is, but happy birthday, DSP. I don't want that to be taken out of context and make me feel like an asshole, but here you go. That's how I roll, 40-9. Will I do any sort of live chats after stopping Raw and SmackDown reviews? I mean, I don't want to give too much away here, but Jay Biggs and I are thinking about doing maybe a podcast where we would talk about just the week in wrestling. Nothing official right now, and I feel bad even saying it here because now it's like going to be like, people want to actualize it. But he's been pushing podcasts for a long time. I've been kind of like resistant to it, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. There's also the possibility of me changing up the Patreon structure, which would allow for more live opportunities to the Patreon backers. But that is still kind of rattling in my head right now. Nothing's officially confirmed about that. But there's also the possibility of me doing gaming live streams again once I figure that out. But yeah, I mean, live's not going away forever. Like, it's just, this particular format is going away for the time being. Maybe it'll come back. Who knows? When I do Raw and SmackDown reviews again, to quote a Dave Chappelle line when I saw him perform many years ago in Eugene, when you see to paraphrase or to coin a phrase from him, when you see me doing Raw and SmackDown reviews again, then you will know I have run out of money. See here, learn math with Brian Sapinski. So glad you hyped Retromania a year and a half ago. Finally came this week on Switch and loving it. Thank you for that and your great content. Yeah, I remember when the release date was supposed to be Q1 of 2020, and we finally get it just before the end of Q1 of 2021. And I actually got that for the Switch. I bought a Switch on my break, and I was always kind of on the fence about buying the Switch and going, well, yeah, I love some of these game ideas, but it's like, do I have time in my life for another console and for more games where I've got a stack of PS4 games I'm still trying to play? I haven't even opened yet. But I bought into the hype, and I wanted something to kind of keep my hands busy while I was on break and like at my in-laws house. So yeah, let's do the Switch. Let's get the Switch. And I've been loving it so far. Got Retromania. Been playing a little bit of that. It took me 3 or 4 tries to finally win a match. I'm still trying to get used to the controls. So that's cool. I'm glad that game is there. And yeah, so we will see. Maybe we'll do a live stream of Retromania at some point. Jacob Donnelly, genuinely surprised by how bad the build for Sasha and Bianca has been, and I don't really get why. Yeah, man, that feels like a really missed opportunity where it's like you've got this great, actually the match is going to be great on paper. Like it's going to be great in execution. Like we know the style and we know these two ladies, and I would hope that they're going to have a fine match. But yeah, man, I guess they just kind of figured that the match's going to sell itself, because they're not putting any effort into selling it themselves, selling it in the story, in the build. They're just like, well, you've got this dream match, or it's like, hashtag Black Excellence. Aren't you happy? And we can just kind of fuck off with the build for this thing for a while. That's how it's felt for me. And the whole thing tonight felt just kind of awkward too. That's their last interaction before Mania, is like, oh, hi, haha, I'm the boss, haha. And just, that was weak to me. So yeah, been a pretty shitty build for sure. Let's see here, going down to the next one. Can I re-upload the Halloween Havoc 98 review? That might be the one I re-upload. I've got, as far as the ones I have left to re-release, Halloween Havoc 98, I have a list right here on my desk. Havoc 98, King of the Ring 98, and also Survivor Series 90, which I have now tried uploading twice, and then it got blocked again. So I'm going to just pump the brakes on that one for a bit. Maybe never come back. I don't know. Let's see here. Where are we at here? For those of you who missed the SmackDown grade, by the way, I gave it a C. Here we go. This chat refreshed. Ken terminated by DQ. Trying to wash the heat between myself and Brian Zayn. Always been a fan of you. Still a Patreon member to this day. You're right. Thank you, Ken. And yeah, I remember the early days when you used to comment on all my videos, trying to be seen. The Senpai noticed you, and now you're a Patreon, which is great. Thank you very much for your support. Parker Soul saying, it's going to be a slog for you, but I'm almost always very excited during WrestleMania week. Yeah, it should be a fun week. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, which is like, I'm glad I took the break beforehand, and then we'll dive into season 11 afterward. But yeah, I think the break I took last week was totally worth it, because I was like, yeah, I felt great. Let me tell you about that break. That the time I was off this last week was the longest I've gone without doing like serious amounts of work in a long time, especially when I've been on the road. Because even when I'm on the road, like doing something for like on a break or a vacation, I still bring all my equipment with me, and I still, just in case. And then like I was doing Raw reviews and stuff, so I would have to watch and do all at work, and occasionally do some Wednesday videos too. I didn't do any of that this week. That week I did a couple. I edited the Levi Shapiro Jervis match, and I worked on the Q&A for Patreon. But besides that, I was just kind of chill. I was like, it felt guilty to not have to work to not work that much. I didn't take a big break when my mom died. Like, to give you an idea of how much of a workaholic I am and how work helps me get through things and helps keep me busy. Like, I tried to do that. It was the hardest experience in my professional career, trying to push through my mom's death. I got to review TakeOver and SummerSlam, damn it, to come hell or high water. And I'm so mad I did that to myself. And I told myself that I didn't want to try and deal with that again. And obviously the circumstances last week were different. There was no like trauma I had to deal with, but yeah, I'm glad I didn't work, and I took advantage of the time off. So let that be a lesson to you. Every once in a while, if you don't think you need a break, or you don't think you deserve a break, take a break, because that's when you need one the most. Things and Stuff, not to be confused with Billy Keeble's favorite Stuff and Things. Bret Hart 94. 94 versus Shawn Michaels 96, a possible future better champion episode. Yes, that's a good idea. I like that. I like it a lot. Yeah, that'd be fun to get some mileage out of for sure. I'm trying to think, how did Shawn's reign end in 96? Was it him giving it up? Was it Lost My Smile? Maybe, I don't know. Will I take a Steven Borlick? Will I take the Spinebuster in a rematch against Hobbs? Great match, 5 stars. I think you're referring to the tag title match I wrestled at Cow Palace several years ago with Powerhouse Hobbs, back when he was just called Will Hobbs then, and DeMarcus James. No, not DeMarcus James. Marcus Lewis. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can tell that the slams there messed my head up because I forgot his name. Yeah, nah, you have to pay me to take a Spinebuster against Hobbs, man. There was a match many years ago in Reno where I was managing Paul Zadora, who's the Giant you might have seen here on this channel, and it was a 4-way match with him, Jeff Cobb, JR Kratos, who's done some All Japan work and was on Bloodsport recently, and Brian Cage. And there was a spot where the other 3 guys were literally tossing me around like a hot potato in the ring. And yeah, Hobbs reminded me of Cage, which led me to that memory. So that was the trip I went down there. Trakes, 2 in it for the content. Oh, I like that. 2 in it. I see what you did there, Trakes. Thank you very much. Parker Soul saying, back again, $5. Does Bayley have anything going on in a WrestleMania? If not, what a shame. Yeah, why is there no women's battle royal? Are you kidding me? Like, do something. I would literally just make the battle royal for Bayley to win, just to give her something, some kind of consolation, because it's a crime that she's not involved in WrestleMania after the year she had last year. I'm guessing what's going to happen. Like, here's my prediction: is that on the SmackDown after WrestleMania, Bayley will do something and probably maybe challenge Sasha Banks for whoever wins the SmackDown Women's title match, and challenge the belt there. That makes the most sense to me, actually. I think Bayley's going to challenge. I'm going to say right now, predicting Bianca's going to win the belt, and then Bayley's going to challenge for right afterwards. So I'm locking that prediction in. So we'll see if that pays off. But yeah, Bayley not working WrestleMania is pretty sad. Let's see here. Eduardo's back. Oh, by the way, I'm the guy who thought of the idea of the PSA with Stone Cold Soap. I still can't believe you actually did it. Thank you for the inspiration, Eduardo. I still can't believe people didn't listen to Stone Cold Soap. I mean, come on. Hang on. Just a second. We need to have a talk. We have a face-to-face with this guy right here. Because I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm not saying anyone here directly fucked up, but y'all collectively as a society fucked up when you didn't listen to Stone Cold Talking Soap. I wish I could get it to work here, but it doesn't anymore. Go wash up, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Yeah, man. I wish more people listen to Stone Cold Soap and wash their hands more. Yeah. would have hopefully kept some of the numbers down. I was looking at my time hop recently, and I was like all bummed about Mania being, canceled as we knew it and being like for live fans. And I'm like, well, it'll be great when we get back to it next year. Not me. We're close. We're getting there. By the way, I've been scheduled for my first vaccine on Monday, so I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be good. I'll be able to fly again and not feel nervous. So, see here. Oh, this is a comment here. SSJ. I like Jay Biggs doing Raw reviews if he's available. The problem with I love Jay Biggs, and he's got a great production voice. He's worked in radio for a long time and done ring announcing, so like he's got the presentation, but he does not have the technical know-how and the wherewithal. He doesn't have the equipment to film. He doesn't have the experience to edit. And I'm not trying to dog him. I'm just saying that's a fact. So it's like if Jay Biggs reviewed Raw, that would mean I would have to film it, or he would send me the footage and I have to edit it. So it'd be doing work again, and like that was the hiccup that I had with like NXT Report and with the SmackDown review, and Alex, Queen of the Ring, was doing it, where inevitably there's still an editorial process where I have to go in there and like scan these videos for things, and it's still work, and that's what I'm trying to avoid is excess work, you see. And so I think Jay Biggs would be great, but the problem is he doesn't have the technical skills to do it on his own. Otherwise I would let him do it because he's got he's got the voice for sure. That's how I roll. Again, thoughts on Kenny Omega? Feel that he's cooling off. Yeah, like it's weird. There's been such an emphasis on Kenny on Impact it's really been affecting his status as champion in the place he's actually the champion of. And they're doing this long, slow churn of a build with the Young Bucks. We don't know where that's going to go. But like, even if that, like, what's the payoff to that? Like, are Matt or Nick going to go into singles match and challenge Kenny Omega? That ain't going to happen. I don't think so. Like, it's weird. It's perplexing. I feel that like the excitement I had for Kenny winning the belt in December has cooled off drastically just based on the way he's been presented in AEW. I don't think they've done, it's not been a great run so far like I had hoped, which is really, really unfortunate. Let's see here. Oh, somebody asked me about what do I think about Peacock being the WWE Network place. I haven't actually looked at the network on Peacock yet. It's I plan on getting it, I guess. So that will happen. You know what? Let's talk about this for a second. Peacock's in a sense are old WWE. Like, that shouldn't shock anyone because WWE is no longer operating their own ship. It's like they're at the mercy of NBC Universal, and they're going to be a lot more conscious about what content they're putting out than, say, WWE, who has no shame. And honestly, the stuff they're censoring for the most part is a lot of stuff people aren't watching on the regular. It's like Attitude Era stuff, a lot of it, or maybe some ECW stuff, but like, I guarantee you the stuff that they're talking about, it's like, yeah, like they're on documentaries and, you might not be able to watch the full actual thing, but how many people actually go back and watch those on the regular? It's like segments that people don't watch every day. So, it's like, yeah, censorship sucks. And like, it sucks that these things are being cut because you always want to see more of what they have, but I'm not surprised. And I also wouldn't be surprised if they slowly bring it back, or like maybe in a few years when the deal with Peacock's up, they can be like, we're bringing back all the stuff that got cut by those woke liberal cucks. And so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it doesn't worry me because like right now I don't think I'm going to need that footage. I'm going to need to watch it. I have the memories in my head. I became a wrestling fan during the Attitude Era. It's all burned in there. You can't take it away from me. Mike R., thank you very much for the $20, Mike. Loved your classic pay-per-view reviews on the final months of WCW. Are you thinking of doing another series of reviews where they're all connected in some way? Yes, I am. I'm not going to tell you what the series is, but it is happening this year. It will be it's a lengthy one, and so I don't want the review slate to just be that streak for a long time. So what I'm planning on doing is it'll be like, pay-per-view, and then break it up with something that's like totally different. Because this is going to be a storyline that's just in one company. And so I would like to I'll break it up with something else from like TNA or from like, from WCW or ECW or something, and just break it up so it's not just that one stretch the whole way through. But yes, there will be another series happening this year. It will be considerably longer than the final months of WCW. Those are my hints on that one. Let's do a quick Smash question here because I'm playing a lot of Smash Brothers. Pikachu is my choice of those three if Smash, but out of the three of them as a character, greatest of all time, gotta be Mario. But they're all great in their own way, I guess. Let's see here. Here we go. Jerome Felix, $9.99. I just want to say your review tonight has helped me a lot. I've had a few rough days after hearing the passings of two of my family members. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Jerome. I'm glad my video could help you. Sorry about your losses. That's not great. And I've been there, and my heart goes out to you, Jerome. So thank you very much for your contributions here. Are we caught up on the super chats? Are we really caught up on the super chats? I can't believe that. That's amazing. So yeah, I guess we're caught up here, but I guess I'll just kind of hang out for a little bit. I got a few more minutes to spare. What was it? Yeah. Let's talk about, so I already talked about Jericho and Austin. I don't know. Give me one more topic to talk about from this week, and I'll see if I can riff on it or something. It's been good to get back into the live fold here. I miss doing SmackDown and Raw for a little bit. Like, I don't know. I missed it until I started watching Raw on Monday. I'm like, you know what? I'll be glad to be taking a break and not doing this after WrestleMania. What I think about Roman versus Bryan at Fastlane, didn't watch it. Didn't watch Fastlane, didn't catch up, but I saw the highlights of it, and I thought that, Edge turning heel is the right call with this one. It feels very reminiscent of Mania 30, honestly, where it's just like, Daniel Bryan finagles his way into the match. But I think the story, and this is, I'm not the first person to have said this, but the story of all three men being in this match is very special because all three came back from these very serious health and medical things. And for them to come back and work the way they have is great. Riddle's botch. Parker Soul saying with the Riddle botch. That was funny. And I don't know if it was like, I heard somebody say like maybe he was going to say something hella racist and like just didn't have the heart to do it anymore. Or if Riddle's just tired. Like Riddle was busy that night, man. He was in like 3 or 4 segments and he was like, I'm never going to forget that one take he did where he's like talking to 3 different people and just like, he didn't miss a beat. That was great. Austin Aries making himself like a total knob again. Yeah, he claims to be the best heel in wrestling right now. It's like in one breath he goes, I've only worked one match in 18 months, but everyone hates me. Yeah, because you're a fucking moron, Austin Aries. Like being a heel unless you're MJF, being a heel on Twitter does not pay the bills. And brother, you're no MJF. I'm going to say that right now. MJF's got a lot more mileage and is a lot more entertaining than AEW. I'm sorry. That's how I roll. Too many long title reigns in recent years. See, that's a tricky question, man, because I think there's a lot you can get from long championship reign. Like it adds credibility and legitimacy in some cases. There's a lot of long-term champions who like after a while are just like, can you please just like fucking not be the champion anymore? Like I get that. And so you run the risk of stagnation. You run the risk of burnout among viewers. But then there's that tricky balance because if the reigns are too short, then you're hot potatoing and you're devaluing it. So it's like it sucks. And there's no perfect length of a championship reign, honestly. And it all comes down to like who they're working and how who they're working and how the matches go and the angles go, honestly. So it's a tough one. I feel back here to Michael asking about Mario 3D All-Stars going away. I'm not sad about it, honestly, because like I've been tempted to buy it, but like, no, I can't buy this game because I already have 2 of the original ones like in their OG status. I've got an N64. I've got Mario 64. I've got Mario Sunshine of the GameCube. I don't care enough about Galaxy to get the 3-pack. Honestly, I didn't get the Wii. I skipped that generation. So yeah, like there's a part of playing the ported games, but like, no, I don't have to do that. I'm just going to play. I have Smash Brothers, I have Retromania, I got Mario Kart, and I've got the Nintendo and SNES like programs on there. That's all I need right now. I wish that those NES and SNES ones had better selection instead of a bunch of shit games from like Jericho, and Natsume Championship Wrestling doesn't work for me. Natsume Championship Wrestling does not work for me because when it comes time to pick the second player, it's just like, it's the second controller, which there is none for me. So that's lame. IWGP Championship. It's a great looking belt if you ignore the history. Like, I mean, okay, and they say, they incorporates historic elements from the previous 4 versions of the belt. But like, I still think coming from the belt that it was, the belt that it is now is like, super lame, but on its own, if you go into it without the context of that history, I think it's a fine looking belt, some might find it blasphemy, but I hated Mario Sunshine. I liked it, but like the problem is like with those Mario games, I'll get it back into the old Mario games. Oh man, it's so fun. I'm transported back to like middle school or like high school and like, I don't want to get all the stars. I don't want to put in the time to get all the shine sprites. Fuck TikTok clock, like all those like later rainbow, the rainbow one in Mario 64, gag me with a spoon. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Am I a Pokemon guy? No, I never got into Pokemon. Here's the thing. I literally unsubscribed from Nintendo Power in high school because it was just too much Pokemon coverage for me. I just didn't care about it. I wasn't a Game Boy fan, so I wasn't like getting into Pokemon. And I think I was like a little aged out from like the prime demographic for it. So it was like, I don't care about Pokemon, but like Nintendo Power would be coming like Pokemon Monthly. It's all I was talking about. You know what? Fuck this. Like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. So no, I'm not a Pokemon guy. I did play the original Pokemon Red on an emulator on my phone many years ago. that is the extent of it, honestly. And Pikachu is one of my characters of choice in Smash. Let's see here. What are we going through here? Oh, I will say, though, if they did a port or a sequel to Eternal Darkness, I'd be totally down for that. That's one of my favorite all-time games, Eternal Darkness. Oh, somebody noticed my little Easter egg I added. I added this to the WrestleMania review, my Imogen Heap hide and seek. Yeah, that was I was proud of that one during Andre's betrayal. And yeah, that one was harder for me to edit than I thought. Because usually when I do a re-upload, I'm like, oh, I just got to change the one thing they ding me for. And that's that. But no, oh my God, like WrestleMania 3, it's like all video. There's no stills. I'm like, oh my God, I have to like go in there and just like reshape all of this review to make it passable. I don't know how I got away with it as long as I did. But yeah, that was fun. And it was good to revisit that. But like, oh man, those ratings, man, they did not hold up. So let's see here. Yes, this Mania, only one of the horsewomen is competing at WrestleMania. Yeah, man. Like, again, the Battle Royal, Women's Battle Royal, why aren't you doing it? Yes, and most songs are copyright. I am aware of this. BTV, has anyone alerted me to the fact that Violent J from ICP watches and likes my videos? Yes, Violent J himself has alerted me to this. And I hate to like name drop, but yeah, no, I'm really, it's really cool to see that the Insane Clown Posse and Violent J in particular likes my videos. And even before I did the review on them, like, and I'm just like really like, oh my God, high school me is like over the moon about that, man. It was so cool to see that, and to get that recognition. And I want to do more coverage like JCW, just to like, you know, in a way to kind of pay it back, you know, pay back the love. So that might happen sooner than later. We'll have to see. I have not heard specifically from Shaggy 2 Dope, but I mean, Violent J is the one who's been telling me about it. And so, yeah, that's been really cool. That was one of my big moments last year, was getting validation from Violent J. And I definitely want to do some more stuff about ICP in the future. Have I watched Young Rock? I watched the first 3 episodes and I need to catch up on it. Let's see here. Have I done Mania 22? Not yet, but never say never. It's in the list of nominees. Oh boy, it's almost 10 o'clock my time, and I've been here doing this for an hour. Thank you guys so much for keeping me up and keeping me rolling this one. This was a lot of fun to come back to it, but next week is the final SmackDown review as we know it. Here it is again, the schedule, the rundown for those of you who missed it. Monday, final Raw review. Tuesday, could be anything. Wednesday, AEW standalone review. Thursday, I'm doing Stand and Deliver, nights 1 and 2 combined. Friday is the final SmackDown review. Last time we're going live with this one for the time being. Saturday is Mania Night 1. Sunday is Mania Night 2. So buckle up for that one, kids. And for me, I better drink more energy drinks because it's going to be a long week. And always remember, the influencer loves you. I'm Bryan Zayn, and I'll see you next time.